Hello again from Fired Up. I'm your host for the show, Bob Irwin, broadcasting from Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This show is about guns, related politics, political issues, and self-defense. Fired Up is on our website, firedupwithbobirwin.com, and on the American Guns and Glory Network. It's on YouTube also and numerous other media. A new show is posted every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Our audio feed is rebroadcast for radio listeners Saturdays at noon on the Nevada Talk Network. Check out KELY1230.com for a station in your area. If you have questions or comments, you can send me an email at bob@firedupmail.com. Again, that's bob@firedupmail.com. Or leave a message on my office recorder, 702-257-1060. Once again, that's 702-257-1060. If you don't leave contact information, I can't call you back. You all know the drill. If you call an answering machine, you don't get me, you get an answering machine. Let me know what you need and give me a way to contact you. There are several hundred defensive uses of firearms every week in the United States, rarely truthfully covered by any of our large media organizations. We always present a few of those for our listeners' education. Most are good shootings. Some are questionable shootings. Sometimes they're just plain wrong. But I pick out the stories because they're educational for firearms owners. If you keep a gun at home or carry one, have a CCW permit or carry one where you don't need a CCW permit, there are things to look at to what you could have done in the same situation and how the individual handled it, what was right and what was wrong. The individual incidents, disclaimer here, are generally adjudicated under local law. The advice given here might not apply to listeners in different jurisdictions, and stories are often paraphrased by me for clarity, translating from police talk to lawyer speak to regional accents into standard English. The incidents are all reported except generally the names of the participants are omitted. My guest today is California and Nevada attorney Donald J. Green. Don, welcome back. Bit of your background, if you would.
Yes, thank you. Again, my name is Don Green, and for those of you who don't know me, we are most of the gun shows in Las Vegas, Nevada, and at some point in this show, you'll be able to see my website. My direct cellular is 702-409-8239. The emphasis of our practice is guns and gun-related issues, firearms, representing individuals, federal firearms licensees, representing people who find guns, people who find what are believed to be fully automatic weapons, people who come across stolen firearms, and we also do a number of administrative procedures involving challenging findings and background checks when it's available. We do a lot of research well before we file this. So you can give us a call at 702-409-8239, or this weekend, or the last weekend, we got a gun show coming up in a couple of weeks at the Convention Center in Las Vegas, and you'll be able to see Bob and I at that show and the other shows coming up through December. Thank you.
All right. This first story comes to us from the San Diego Union Tribune. A reporter named Christina Davis reported on October 5th this year, very recently, in Carlsbad, California. A burglary occurred about 12:30 a.m., middle of the night, on a street called Paseo Frontera. The suspect entered the house and touched a male resident while he slept. We'll leave that as it may. The victim woke up to find the intruder in his bedroom, and the burglar fled, ran back out the way he'd come in. Police got another report of a break-in just after 1 a.m. on Unicornio Street. The resident woke up to find the suspect inside, and again he fled when confronted. These are all a couple of blocks apart. At a third home on Exana Way, a resident who was still awake saw the suspect trying to enter. The resident confronted the suspect through a window, causing him once again to run away. The resident then, this third resident, then stepped outside and fired a warning shot into the air. Officers already nearby heard the gunshot and rushed to the Xanaway home. This is the world's fastest police response. They hear the shot, and they're within 30 seconds. Police found this 26-year-old hiding behind a nearby vehicle. He was arrested on charges of burglary, attempted burglary, sexual battery, methamphetamine possession, and being under the influence of drugs. Police are encouraging neighbors to check their security cameras for footage of the suspect. That's nice. Those security cameras help a lot solving cases. As to the facts of the case, firing a warning shot into the air is always a dicey decision. Every 4th of July and New Year's Day, we hear reports of injuries. In this case, this guy's in California. I think he's really in the woods, but I have a California lawyer right here next to me. Mr. Green.
Yes. I believe that the resident, and I think from what I can read, it's the third resident who steps outside and fires a warning shot. There's a distinct possibility that he might be charged with a felony, even though he was trying to defend himself, his family, or his property. Why? As Bob points out, firing a warning shot is not only bad. I don't know of any jurisdiction which requires the firing of a warning shot when you have a concealed weapons permit or when you're firing in defense of yourself or others. It's never a good idea because, again, one of Newton's primary laws of physics is that the bullet is going to come down at a high rate of speed. And if it hits in a residential area, it goes to the roof of a car, the roof of a convertible, into a child's backpack, into the child itself, into a school playground. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. And it is a felony. As we pointed out last week in that example, we had the 83-year-old man who himself, the owner of the property, when people were coming on, he was the one who was actually charged. Now, this is a good example of why lock your doors, check your windows, because we don't know how this guy got in. But he got in close enough, and number one, to touch the male resident in the bedroom. So he went through a number of rooms. The second time that he enters another resident, he's inside. And the third one, the suspect is trying to enter, and a homeowner sees him or sees the suspect trying to get in through a window. And look at this time. It's 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m., and people are not going to remember the exact times. What time was it? Well, it was right after that program on Iwo Jima on the History Channel. And we said, okay, it came on at 12. So we say it's about 12 at night because we got a 30-minute span here. So, and one of them is just after 1 o'clock. The thing is here is that these people are drug-fueled. This guy with with methamphetamine, you're going to have that. You're going to have that when you're confronted at Walmart. The reason I use the Walmart example is because it's very frequent that when I'm parked, even in handicap parking, and putting groceries or with the grandkids, by the time I close the back of the vehicle, there's someone standing right there, and it's these women, it's these guys. They're collecting for the Injured Children's Fund, the unwed pregnant teenagers fund, or whatever. So, situational awareness. But when you're in your own home, this is a good example. These people don't care. Now, I'm not advocating killing people all the time because you don't have to kill anybody, and that's probably what's going to save the third homeowner. He fired a warning shot, but you don't have to shoot the suspect, which is probably a good idea.
No, he didn't hit anybody. It's just, boy, this is really dicey in Southern California. The sexual battery, I left out some of the details to make the thing shorter, but this was apparently a gay guy who was touching a male subject that was in the house. So it's still sexual battery, no matter how you slice it. So that's why he's charged with that crime. We're going to break for a brief word from some of our friends and associates. We'll be right back. Freestyle Martial Arts, located at 5693 South Jones, right at the corner of Russell Road. My friend Goker runs that studio. They train UFC fighters. They have classes for children, adults, old folks like me. You can reach them at 702-551-9009. That's 702-551-9009. CCS Gunsmithing is run by my good friend Chris Eifelt. He runs the NRA, Friends of the NRA dinners. He's on Rainbow and Sahara. You can reach him, a fine gunsmith, at 702-365-1732. That's 702-365-1732. Next is attorney Jerry Creed. Jerry, the slide will tell you that he does estate planning and all that, which he does. He's here because he also does firearms trusts, particularly Class 3 trusts. If you own a lot of guns or any Class 3 firearms that you wish to pass on to your heirs, you need to talk to Jerry to make sure your will or your trust is up to date. It changes by the minute. He's at 702-806-7777. That's 702-806-7777. And we are back. This is from WLTX TV 19 in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Took place on the 17th of this month, just about a week ago from this broadcast. County Sheriff Leroy Ravenel, I got that, says that a 25-year-old and another person entered the Clean Cuts Barbershop. That's with 2 Ks, Clean Cuts, cute title. At 1311 Belleville Road around 1:40 in the afternoon. The 25-year-old suspect was brandishing a .22 caliber handgun. One of the barbers said that one of the accused robbers patted him down, but the robber didn't feel the weapon that he had secured in his waistband. The 2 barbers said that one of the men held them at gunpoint while the other took items from them. The suspects also took money from the cash register. As the 2 perps left the barbershop, they yelled back at the barber, "Y'all boys have a nice day," and got into their getaway car. The armed barber then fired multiple shots into the cream-colored Chrysler 300, apparently striking one of the suspects. Moments later, a male called 911 and said he was on the way to the regional medical center because his friend had been shot. That suspect was taken into custody at the hospital where he was when he was unarmed. The co-defendant received treatment for a gunshot wound. It's hard to leave out here that when you go to a hospital with a gunshot wound, they're always going to call the police, no matter how good your story is about how you accidentally shot yourself. Anyway, Sheriff Ravenel told media, "We have this individual in custody on these charges while his accomplice is in the hospital. The second individual was wounded by an armed employee." The 25-year-old would-be robber is from Hollywood, South Carolina, appeared before Orangeburg magistrate, a lady named Peggy Durmas, on Thursday afternoon for a bond hearing and was denied bail. The judge cited his history of being currently out on bond for an unrelated weapons charge, as well as being a flight risk. He's been charged with 2 counts of armed robbery and 2 counts of kidnapping. The case remains under investigation. Firing at a fleeing suspect and his vehicle always causes risk to bystanders or innocents that may be in the car. It may be difficult to defend any actions against the barber unless a danger to the barber can be or the barber or other people can be shown at the time the shots were fired. Mr. Green.
Let's go right to the middle of this where the barber is outside and shoots into the the cream-colored Chrysler 300. There's an old saying, behind every bullet there's a lawyer. And this barber in California and Nevada would need a lawyer. Unless these armed suspects are firing at him and he's in the barbershop, the windows are broken and he fires from the, tries to safely fire, it's close. But I think in California and Nevada, this barber's in trouble. This is an easy mark, this barbershop. And how much money were they going to get out of a barbershop at 1:40 in the afternoon? Most barbershops are probably going to close about 4 or 5 o'clock. What do they got, a couple $100s? But it's not the amount of the money, it's the fact that they're getting it. And these robbers are so bold. And that's why the viewers and the listeners have to be aware of their surroundings. These robbers are so bold that they're patting down their victims. Fortunately, he didn't feel the weapon. That could have caused a number of problems. But when the barber went out at 1:40 or just after 1:40 in the afternoon and shot at the cream-colored Chrysler 300, there's the problem. But however, in South Carolina, things may be different. Again, as Bob emphasizes in his introductory remarks at every one of these broadcasts, that you have to look at your individual jurisdiction and you have to check with a local lawyer who is skilled in this area to talk to him to see if in fact you can do this in South Carolina or Texas or wherever. In Nevada and California, this is going to be real close right here, especially because, and I don't see it, you tell me if I'm wrong, I did not see where the suspects fired their weapon.
No.
Okay, but we don't know that yet, again, subject to further verification, which is what Bob and I do. We follow up on some of these more unique shows, some of these more unique examples, so that we can present a more thorough analysis for the viewers and the listeners.
As long as Don brought it up, if you are watching this in some other jurisdiction and have a case that you would like help with, Don and a little bit me, but mostly Don, has all sorts of associated attorneys we've run across over the years, and we can put you in touch with a gun incident defense lawyer that we would recommend in virtually every state.
Right, people who have been in these cases, not just those who say, well, you know what, I'm thinking about getting into self-defense and firearms. You have to talk to these people, but the people who we deal with are generally top-notch in their jurisdictions, and they've been in the trenches in the court with these issues. And you need somebody who is in that. We have several here in the Las Vegas area and in Southern California, but we also have contacts in other jurisdictions.
As a general rule, if you walk into a general lawyer's office that just does general law, and say, can you help me with a gun defense case? He'll say, sure. A lot of them shouldn't be doing that. They should be referring you to somebody who works in that area.
We have a murder case that's the very same thing. Another attorney has referred. He says you need to speak to Mr. Green because he has an expert who's available to him on self-defense issues, and an expert not only who has these shows, but Mr. Irwin has testified dozens, if not hundreds of times in courts in Nevada, both for the prosecution and for the defense, yes, by public defenders, private attorneys. So this is the kind of team which you need.
Okay, now we've commented on each other's skills, and we both think the other guy's great. A brief word from our friends and associates. Don't go away. Attorney Don Green, who is a regular on this show, as most of you know, specializes in gun litigation, firearms law, firearms license denials, things like that, and defense in firearms accusation cases. You can reach Don at 702-409-8239. That's his cell phone. 24 hours, 702-409-8239. That's Don Green, attorney at law. And Maggie Mordaunt. Maggie, you can find her to start with by just searching CCW Maggie, M-A-G-G-I-E. Maggie is the firearms instructor extraordinaire. She teaches all sorts of classes. She trains instructors. She teaches at the county range here in Clark County. Great instructor, an NRA certified everything. I've known her forever and ever. You can reach her at 702-375-5900. That's 702-375-5900. And Ricardo's, my favorite watering hole. They're located at Flamingo and Decatur here in Las Vegas, Nevada. The owner's name is Bob, so tell Bob sent you. You can reach them at 702-227-9100. That's 702-227-9100. They have banquet facilities and electronic stuff available for clubs and meetings and so forth, and you will love the food. Battlefield Vegas, the new home for being associated with Fired Up, is located directly behind Circus Circus right off the Las Vegas Strip. It is the most amazing place you will ever find for firearms to shoot in their range. You can shoot a minigun in there. They have all sorts of high-powered machine guns and so forth. At their outdoor facility, they rent tanks. You can actually crush a car with a tank. I couldn't explain this place in the 30 seconds I've given myself here. You must try going by Battlefield Vegas. You will find them at battlefieldvegas.com. And we are back. This last case today comes from KMOV TV4. It's a CBS affiliate, and a ton of other media covered this. It's a complicated case. I put it together with some copy from one and some copy from the other because it's a lot of the details don't agree depending on the media. Not unusual, but in this case it was more than usual. This was reported on October 23rd, a few days ago, in Jefferson County, Missouri. Frightening encounter for a resident leads to a warning from the Jefferson County Sheriff, Dave Marshak. His office had gotten multiple calls a week about thieves coming into his jurisdiction looking to steal items from unlocked cars that apparently are willing to shoot whoever gets in their way. The latest shooting happened about 1 a.m. Friday in a neighborhood on Seckman Street. A 41-year-old resident got an alert from his home security system that someone was outside. He said, "My mind immediately went to my girlfriend, my 3-year-old daughter, and my 14-year-old daughter who were in the home." The resident got a handgun from his mantle and went outside where he saw a man checking the car doors, pulling car door handles. We're not in a good spot already. He yelled, "You picked the wrong blankety blank house, my man," while pointing his gun at the suspect. I suggest you get the blankety blank on the ground. The suspect makes what sounded like a bird call. He was apparently signaling a getaway driver. Another vehicle pulled up. The suspect then fired 3 rounds at the resident, who's now standing outside because he went outside, got into the car and drove off. The resident has heard some questions about, the resident was interviewed, of course, and had to talk to the media. He said he'd heard some questions about why he risked pulling his gun and confronting the man, but he said he was afraid and he didn't see any choice but to defend his family. He said, "I didn't expect to get shot at, So I'm just glad today that I'm alive. The resident added then, I got a lot more than a pistol next to my bed now. Security video from the home shows the altercation. It's caught completely on video. So far, no arrests have been made, although Sheriff Marshak said his investigators do have some people of interest that they are looking for, I would assume. So, as I said earlier, there are multiple sources for this incident with all slightly different details. And as all regular listeners know, the details make all the difference in the world. But this is generally what happened. I used the data they seem to agree on. Going outside to confront the problem is courageous, but certainly not necessary to defend your family. Always try to let the cops handle it. If time allows, call 911. Mr. Green.
Bob, let's stick right where you have that point. The first thing you do, if you can, is call 911. Some suspects are trying to open the car doors of my car. I'm in my residence. I have my 3-year-old son, or my 3-year-old daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, my fiance with me. And look at the time. It's 1 a.m. on Friday. We don't know if it's 1 a.m. coming from Thursday or 1 a.m. Friday morning. But the sheriff said that they had multiple calls per week of suspects, checking the car doors to see if they're locked. Always lock your car and double check it. Now, some people don't realize, and I didn't realize for a long time, like in my particular car, when I lock it, and I've got the little key, because it's a keyless entry to the car, if I reach for the door opens, and I close it. I have forgotten at a gas station to lock that car door. And these people will jimmy it. And they do watch you. These people are watching you as you're getting out. They're watching you as you come back from Walmart. They're watching you as you're putting that 65-inch TV in the back of your SUV. And like a client of mine had, they're watching because my guy had like a 75-inch TV after he won a settlement with workers' comp, and he puts the empty box out in his front yard for the trash to pick up. But this guy here, here's one of the problems that I see. The problem that I see here is that he confronts the guy, I'm going to get a bigger gun, and talks to the media. And that's totally wrong. Keep your mouth shut, tell 911 the little things, and speak to the lawyer.
If you learn nothing from these broadcasts over and over, have an attorney with you before you make statements about what happened. It's okay to identify yourself. It ain't okay to start talking about what happened. You'll make mistakes. You can find our recent shows on firedupwithboberwin.com, on YouTube, on the American Guns and Glory Network, all over the place. Please, when you find our show on whatever media, just hit subscribe and you'll get a new show every Thursday around 5 p.m. Our logo merchandise is now for sale at Battlefield Vegas. You saw a little ad for them earlier. The most amazing place I've ever seen. They have my shirts and hats and books available. And we'll also sell the mail order. You can get a hold of Circus Circus. Their number was listed earlier in the show. Don't forget, we're on Nevada Talk Network on Saturdays at noon. Check them out at KELY1230.com for a station in your area. I'd like to thank you all for watching Fired Up and for your support. And Don and I will see you virtually about every major gun show. Got one coming up in 3 weeks now, I think.
Yes, a few weeks now. I believe it's at the convention center.
Yeah, at the convention center. Big show. We will hopefully see you then. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you again, Bob.